So now that we're done with the UVs, one thing I want to do next is set up the bevel shader for the Highpoly so that we get some variance in bevel widths across the object and not everything has the same bevel. So let's turn all of our low poly groups off and take a look at this Highpoly group. And then we're going to switch this to rendered and switch over to the shader editor over here. And the first thing I want to do is kind of like set up a material that shows off the bevel a little bit better. So to do that, let's crank up the metallic value to 1 and crank up the roughness to 0.5. And that gives us this nice sheen on our object. And you can see that this shows off the bevel really well. And then let's select this guy here and do the same changes for the bevel medium red material. Crank it up to 1, specular 0.5, roughness 0.5. So now we have the same material attributes on both of these objects. Now what I want to do is kind of show you what happens when I change the radius value here. So right now it's set to 0.035. Let's set it to 0 and you can see the bevel disappears entirely. And I can do 0.01, we're getting a small bevel. I can do 0.02, we're getting a bigger bevel. 0.03, even bigger. And if I do 0.75, you can see this is totally overblown, and 0.075 you can see way too big. Another thing you want to do is kind of like zoom in and out as well to see how the bevel reads from different distances. Like from out here it's not too bad. So if we would have a game that you know, this object would only be visible as close as this, you probably want to crank up the bevel value to something like this. But because we can get really close to this object, we want to make sure that this bevel value is working with that too. So I think for a maximum bevel on my object, I'm going to go with something like 0.035. So if I zoom out, the bevel is still readable, doesn't become overblown, but even when you're looking at it up close, it works really well. And right now the red material has that same bevel width set up too. But you can see that on smaller pieces like this over here, it's too much. Like I would need a smaller bevel, like 0.01 for these details to actually come out. So we basically need to make different materials and then tweak the bevel widths for these different objects and assign the different materials to the different objects that have a different level of detail. And that's what we're going to do next. So now let's set up some different materials with different bevel widths. So to do that, let's go to Blender File over here and open the Materials tab. First, we're going to rename those blue medium, and we're going to rename that to red medium. And then what I'm going to do is make a copy of each of these. So Control-C, Control-V, call that one blue small. Same here, Control-C, Control-V, red small. And then in our material editor, select blue small, and we're going to set that to 0.02. Let's try it again, 0.02. And then let's select red small and set that one to 0.01. And then there's a couple of more materials that we need that we might as well just set up. We definitely need a metal material. So let's copy blue medium, Control-C, Control-V, call that metal medium. And let's actually go ahead and assign the material here, metal medium. And then we can go in, select the color, and then just crank down hue and saturation, bring up the value to like something that resembles metal. So maybe something like this, not too bad. And we're going to need metal small as well. So Control-C, Control-V, metal small. And then we can also just assign metal small to this guy here and change the bevel to 0.01. And then you can see that gives us a nice bevel on these pieces here. Try the same here. It's looking good too. So what other materials do we need? Probably one for the wheel. So let's just copy the metal small, Control-C, Control-V, and call that rubber medium. And then select the rubber medium over here. And set this to 0.025 for now. And I think that gives us most of the materials that we need. We're probably going to end up creating a few more, but I want to keep it to a minimum if possible so that it becomes easy to tweak everything. So with that, we can get started by just assigning the materials to different objects. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep assigning materials to things. So these ones, we're going to do blue small. And let's go ahead here and do rubber medium. And what I want to do is I want to find a nice balance of different pieces and different colors so that we're getting some breakup in our materials. Let's try metal small here. Let's switch this back to view layer and start on this guy. So this I want to be red. Let's see if we can go with medium here. That's looking pretty okay. Just trying to get a feel. So here you can kind of see the metal medium is too big of a bevel. So we're just going to do metal small and then the detail comes back in. And I think that's a pretty good breakup. Maybe do red in the center. So yeah, it's looking pretty good to me so far. Let's take a look at the leg. So this is going to be metal. And maybe this guy we're going to make the red medium material. And this here can be metal medium. We're getting some nice readable bevels from a distance, which I really like. That's going to work really well in the bake. For these smaller floaters, we need smaller detail, smaller bevels. And then here, let's see what the red medium gives us. Yeah, it's probably a little too much. Let's try the small bevel. Gives us a bit of a sharper line. I like that more here. And then let's take a look at the inside. So I think these are all going to be metal. And here as well, you can see, let's try the metal small. I think that works a little better. Just because otherwise it just becomes a little too soft for my taste. Let's take a look at some of the stuff here. Can do red small for these guys. And then maybe we'll do metal medium on the frame here. and then metal small on all of these elements down here. Probably best to make this one metal medium as well. Bring back the rest of the pieces. It's looking good. We have some nice breakup going on. And then here, let's make these pieces metal. And maybe this one can be red. Let's just keep going here. And let's hide everything but the body top. And then take a look at the inside here. And maybe all we do here is assign like a red material to the center here. Let's take a look at the body bottom. And here we can do these pieces. So here you can see that these are not merged properly yet. So let's switch back to solid mode. And in order to get the right bevels, we have to merge them in the right way. So this piece needs to be merged with these ones. So what we're going to do first is separate by loose parts on these guys. That gives us a whole bunch of pieces. And then we're just going to select all of this and make this the active object, Control J, hide. And then we're going to do the same here. Control J, hide. Control J, hide. Control J. Bring everything back, switch back to rendered view. And now when we assign our material, we're going to get a bevel between these pieces. So let's do red medium for now on all of these. And let's just see what that looks like. And then go down here and metal small. And here we're going to do red medium. Now I really don't like that all of this on the inside here is red. So let's take another look at this. Do material preview for now and see what we can do here. So I think I'm just gonna apply some other materials to the stuff on the inside here. So we're going to select all of this. And let's see if we can somehow deselect these pieces here. So we're just gonna try to deselect these faces. And then we're going to do blue medium on these guys. Actually, let's undo that. Go back to left view and just deselect all of this as well. And then here we're going to do blue medium. And then if we bring back everything, we have some nice color contrast. Red, blue. Blue is our main color, red is our blue is our primary color, red is our secondary color on this mesh. So I want to go with a roughly 80-20 split. So 80% blue, 20 or 30% red, and then see as it goes. So this is looking good. Don't like this this stuff here yet. So I think I'm going to take these guys and do metal medium. And same with this here, metal medium. And then here I need to, let's just go in, select all of these linked pieces, separate by selection. And then we can apply a metal small material to them. So now this is all metal. I actually think that works better. And let's just observe and see how our breakup is looking right now. I think that's looking pretty decent actually. Getting some nice piece and color separation between the individual elements. And the good thing is we're going to use this as the color mask for our materials, or our ID mask for our materials in Substance Painter later. So we can always go back and reassign materials and kind of like rebake if we don't like the distribution. So don't worry about this stuff too much right now. So I want to create a glowing material as well, so that we're going to have some emissive parts on our model later on. And to do that, we're just going to create a new material. So let's switch to Blender File, Materials, and let's just copy the metal small material. Control-C, Control-V, and then we have the metal small 001. So we're going to rename that Glow. Go in here, select it, and let's just decrease the metallic to 0. And then also crank up the emission to something like 0.5, and maybe crank up the color to white for now. And then you can see it's like overwritten the material assignment here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to apply the metal small material to this guy. And then we still have our glow over here. And well, every time I switch over here, it will overwrite the material assignment. So just make sure you've got nothing selected. Otherwise, it will always do that. So now that we've done that, let's go ahead and assign this material. So first area where I want to assign it to is these faces. So select them, Shift Q, and then glow. And now these bits should be glowing. And then we can take a look at these guys here. Switch this to solid. Select these faces here. Alt G, or just Control G to, select all of them and then assign the glow material. Switch back to rendered view. And that should give us some glow up here as well. Yep. And let's take a look at some other areas where we might want to have some glow. I think specifically here in the leg piece. Let's go back to view layer, and then we can hide these pieces for now and just take a look at the leg. Hide all of this. And yeah, on these guys I want to have some glow for sure. So for now, let's just switch this to material preview. Just be easier to handle. And then here I want these faces to be glowing later on. So let's actually see. We could probably use select similar on this, but I'm almost done, so might as well do it manually. Oh yeah, this one is another piece, so assign the glow material here, and then do the same here. glow, and down here as well, assign material glow. Go back to rendered view, bring everything back, and just take a look at what that looks like. It'll be hard to see. Let's just hide all of this. There we go, these bits are glowing now, which is looking good. Let's undo this rotation that I've just done by accident. And then we're going to bring back the body bottom. And here as well, I have these guys. So let's go to Material Preview. Alt-G, assign glow. And take a look at the body top as well. I think I want this piece here to glow. And then maybe these guys here as well, like the top piece here. Now, instead of just assigning the material here, what I'm going to do is I think I'm just going to duplicate these faces and make a new object. So Shift-D, right mouse button, separate by selection, flip normals, and then let's hide this for now. And then we can just do new object here, or new face here, and then we need to just add the subdivision here and bring these pieces back together. And then the same up here. Take this and move it like that. And then we can just give this a glow. And let's just check the face orientation. Yeah, that's looking good. And then we can just do Shift-D and RZ90, RZ120, Shift-D, RZ120. And there we go, we've duplicated that 3 times now. And we've got our glowing bit here. So that's looking okay to me. And let's just take a look at the core grenade piece as well. And we want to be consistent with all of these pieces. So assign the glow here. And need to do it on the back side as well. And I kind of feel like there should be something in the center here. So let's just see. Grow selection, we're just going to do an inset here, another inset, and kind of move this in and extrude this in. Shift-D, P, separate by selection, center pivot here, move that forward, and inset. Let's do this again, move this out, and then we can have a glow here in the center. Mirror this over. And then just do apply modifiers. Let's check here. Probably want to have some depth. So just extrude. And then we need to set the pivot to the center. So Control A, and then we can just do location, mirror this over, and apply modifiers. And now we have everything set up. So yeah, that's looking pretty good. Go to rendered view, take another look at it. And here we go. Let's bring back the rest of our Highpoly pieces. Probably want this to be the red small material. So let's do some more tweaking just on the body bottom. Select these guys, go to the left view, and then select all of these faces. And let's assign the metal medium material to this, as well as here. And here. That gives us a nice little like separation line. And let's take a look at the body top and kind of like repeat that here. So maybe what we need to do is actually change the geo a little bit. So we're gonna bevel this, or add an edge and then bevel this, and then extrude along normals. Extrude this in, add another edge, and then we can get rid of the top and bottom edge. And let's undo really quick and don't extrude that in so far, just a tad. And then repeat that same process. And then here what we're gonna do, delete these side faces. Same here. And then we're just going to use our knife tool and try to cut in subdivision here. Merge. Fix these up really quick. Same here. All right, and maybe just something like this. Keep missing the axis with my middle mouse button here, but that's fine. And we can just make another subdivision here and have these pieces line up. And then now we can go to left view, X-ray mode, just select all of these, and we're going to do metal medium, and we're going to do the same thing for all of these ones. Metal medium, and actually this we can just leave as is, I assume, because we're not going to actually see those. And now we have a nice little lip that goes around this. So let's just duplicate this around and take a look at it in rendered view. Bring the point light here. And yeah, that's looking pretty good. Just gives us a bit more material breakup and material separation. Bring back the other Highpoly pieces. So let's do a little bit of a cleanup. Here, this is a bit too soft to me, so I'm going to do middle small on this to get a sharper bevel here. That's working well. And then these guys here, separate by selection, and then blue small. Bring everything back. Now that's blending in better. And I think for the most part, it's what we want for these guys. We can still go back and forth and tweak these values after baking and rebake if we want. But for now, I think this is looking pretty decent. So yeah, maybe let's leave it at that for now.